Hello everyone, my name is Steve Samuel from Design Visionaries, and today I'd like to talk to you about model-based definition and especially what data users can do with model-based definition. So these days a lot of contracts are mandating that thou shalt produce MBD and give it to manufacturing. There are folks now who are receiving these kinds of models that are quote unquote hairy. They've got a lot of MBD on them, and it's not as easy sometimes for some of the folks to get used to it and get it, they miss their drawings basically. So there's some tricks that you should all know. Trick number one, when you get a MBD model and it's got a bunch of dimensions on it like this, there is in the PMI tool a way to resize them. So right here you could click on resize, and if the PMI has been done in NX, it will resize accordingly. So you can resize it like this, zoom in, hit the resize, and that makes it more clear in some cases. Also, if you are looking at the PMI, when you rotate, it should rotate also. So for example, this little call out for these four holes are 0.634, and if I'm looking at them from this direction, or if I switch down to that direction, it should read correctly. So that's a thing. If you find that they're not rotating the PMI, product manufacturing information, these callouts were probably not done in NX, or they're at least not semantic. Now I use a term, semantic, and what semantic means is they are actually associated with the surfaces that they are reporting on. For example, this is a datum feature symbol that's showing the datum A, and when I click on that, it's showing me the surfaces that are actually associated with that. So they're semantic. They are related to the actual surfaces. When I select on this dimension here, you can tell that this whole cylindrical surface is updating. And if you select on your PMI callouts and you don't get a surface that's actually highlighting, then they are not semantic. They're not alive, so to speak. Okay? Another thing about all this PMI stuff is, or for data users, you should be able to take sections. If you say Control H, you'll get the section cutting tool. The section cutting tool is like sending a little MRI through the part. So Control H is the PMI tool, and in Control H there is a portion of it that says show the 2D viewer. So the 2D viewer shows the actual what the actual cross section looks like as you do your cross section. So as you can see, that could be a very, very powerful tool. You can move it back and forth in real time. So that's show section viewer. Another thing that you will find as a data user is that the PMI tool won't really show you all of its complexity, all of its abilities, unless you go to here, the roles tool. In the roles tool, what we want with roles is you want to go to content and you want to go to role advanced. If you are using NX as a neophyte person who's not that knowledgeable, you might have a different role. You might have the role essentials or some other role selected. For example, here's role essentials. So when I have role essentials, then when I go to different functions, I don't get the full array of things that I can do. For example, here's the base mode in extrude, revolve, whatever. There's no more. But when I go to content and I go to role advanced, then as you can see, there's many more abilities that the software has. So role essentials is a way of taking away a lot of the functionality so people won't get intimidated. So I advocate going into role advanced. So now in PMI, there's all these different things that you could do. But as a data user, you may want to take basic measurements. So one of the things that you should know about is the grid, if you will, putting on the grid, product grid. So in order to do a product grid, you need a coordinate system. If you go to Home and you go to Datum CSys, you'll see that you have a datum CSys, and you can manipulate that. I like to manipulate it dynamically. And what I want is the X to be straight across and the Y to be straight up. So I'm rotating the coordinate system. I'm clicking on that little center doodad, and I'm selecting the, let's go here. Let's select the center of this hole. So what I'm going to now do, now that I have this datum CSys, is I'm going to go to PMI, and I'm going to use the product grid. The product grid, you could choose a spacing. In this case, I'm going to choose 1 inch as a spacing. I'm going to do horizontally 60 of these spaces, if you will. Vertically, I'm going to do 20, and it says right here, specify CSys. So I'm specifying the CSys that I created, specifically the XY plane. Say OK, and there's all the grids. So now I can literally look up here and see what the dimension is of something. So that's a nice, powerful thing. Product grid. I'm going to get it out of the way, though. Okay. Now, another thing that you should know as a data user is these model-based views are organized in a tool right here called the Model-Based Design Navigator. It's right here. When you click on it, you will see that there's a number of views, sections that you can select. So, for example, if I want to see section 1, whoever created this model, by the way, it was me, it wanted to show you that here is a section where you can define the thickness, the thickness of the flange, if you will, the thickness of the outside edges, right? So that's an important section. Here's another important section that shows you the relative radii of the leading edge, the suction surface, the pressure surface, and the trailing edge. So they're all radial, and here's the dimensions, and here's what the cross section looks like. So that's really a nice thing. Cross section 3. What's cross section 3 look like? Oh, there's a cross section only on the other side. And then there's the standard views, back, bottom, front. Oops, it's not updating. Here we go. Back, bottom, front. And those standard views don't have the PMI on them. But I do have these views, which are in our little template. So there's one for default notices. So there's a default notice in our product definition, our PDF, our product data definition. Here's our management data. Okay. Here's the datums. Here's the view of all the datums. Here's datum A, datum B, datum C, right? So all of these go on the datums view, and then here's a view with all the PMI. Okay, all the PMI. So great. So you may also get data that has been translated from step 242. So this model right here is the native model. It actually has all of the build characteristics, if you will. You can see it starts off with, it starts off with an extrude. It's got the shell. It's got, so this is fully featured, and the PMI is placed on the features. But if you want to export this, you can say File, Export, and you can go to step 242, right down here, Step, and you've got to make sure that it is step 242. You want to select it all, data to export, entire part, etc., and then you'll get a model that looks like this. This is a translated model. It comes in from a step file. So now, as you can see, in the part navigator, it doesn't have all the features, but it does have a bunch of model views, and the model views that it has is exactly the same as the other model views. So that's really good. All right, then there's a view with all of the PMI. There's that. Okay, so that has everything. Now these are a little different that they came in from the step file. For example, when I resize them, they don't resize. See that? So they're not exactly as smart as the originals, but it does come in with step 242. And going back to the original, as a data user, I may want to make a number of measurements. So I go to the analysis tool and I use the measure tool. The measure tool is very, very powerful. However, it can be a little bit cryptic here and there. So for example, let's say I want to measure this web thickness. We know from before it's 0.125, but what I would do is select this filter for faces. I would make sure that this says object. I would select the distance, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I would select this face, I would rotate the model, and I would select that face, and I get the distance. This is the minimum distance, 0.125. So see, that's working very well. But suppose I want to measure a bunch of heights from some plane. So then I'm going to go to measure, and instead of measuring a free, I'm going to do this one. This is from reference object. So I'm going to be measuring from reference object. So from, let's say, this face, okay, I want to measure the distance to this face. There we go. It's 0.7861. I want to measure the distance to this face. So this one is, where did it go? Okay, 0.9586. I want to measure to this face. So every time I click, I get something new. Okay, this is measuring that way. I want to probably do a minimum perpendicular distance. There we go. And I get 0.8125. That's a perpendicular distance. So there's a lot of nuance to this tool, but in all cases, you'll probably want to adjust your selection, whether it be face or datum plane or solid edge, whatever, and then go in here and choose whether you're going to do an object or a set of objects. Then go here and do whether you want a from reference object or you want to just do it a little bit more simply. That is a lot of really good information about that. Let's see. So we talked about the grid. We talked about what happens when you read it from a step file, taking a bunch of measurements, knowing when the dimensions are semantic, placing dimensions on a plane. Okay, so if you want to add, if you're given a component and you want to add PMI, then you have to kind of be knowledgeable about how to use all of this stuff. So obviously you have this thing called a radial dimension, and if you select on a radial surface like that, you'll get a radial dimension. That's all easy to figure out. However, if you want to do something like measure between this face and that face, if you want an actual dimension there, then you have to be cognizant of where it's going in terms of plane. So, for example, I'm going to do an inferred dimension that is the dimension from this flat face to that flat face. Okay, so now it's asking me where do I want to put it, and if I put it on this plane, I've got these weird little extension lines, etc., etc. So what I might want to do is go into orientation and say specify plane and select a plane that is more advantageous in terms of the position, and then I can click, and there you go. So you can see that the dimension is kind of relative to the plane that I selected, so it's not all over the map. So there's that, how to dimension in a plane. And I showed you Control H. Oh, when you Control H, Control H gets you the section of your choosing, and you could do an X section or a Y section or a Z section. But the thing is, sometimes you say OK, and now you've got the section. And now you may not really know how to turn that off, so you can see everything again. So my first thought is that if you go to the View command, you'll see a clip section there, so I can have it almost as a toggle. Also, you'll see that in the navigator, here's the ANT tool, Assembly Navigation Tool. You'll see that there's sections here, and right here I could say section, and I could say clip, and I could say unclip. So that is a lot of different tricks. Oh, a few more things. When you're looking at these models, if you select on the planes of this nice little triad thing, like so, you'll get the pure plan views of those planes. So I've always thought that that was pretty nice when you're a data user and you're going in and out of the part and you're viewing it in different ways, etc. So another way to undo the section, however, Control H to get the section. I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to go to the model-based viewer, and I'm just going to double-click on one of the other views, and know that that section is, I'm going to call it view dependent. So that's where that section lives. And again, you can go to the part navigator, and you can go to the assembly navigator and find sections and unclip. Okay, so it should be in view, clip unclip, or here. So that concludes this little talk about the model-based design and model-based definition and PMI for data users. I haven't shown you a lot about how to put the MBD on. That's going to be another video. But I will say to you that the paradigm of using these product manufacturing information entities, the PMI entities, on a 3D model makes it very, very new. You could see the value of it, how powerful it is. You could also see that if you're used to really only using 2D drawings, it may be quite the learning curve. It may be, you may struggle a bit to accept that this is a really good way to do it. A lot of companies are moving to this exclusively. A lot of manufacturing firms, partners are being asked to really learn this and take a course, and there's so much more to it than this. But here's a nice little intro. Again, my name is Steve Samuel from Design Visionaries. I hope you enjoyed this little talk. I hope you gleaned something out of it. And please, please, please like and subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel. We do read the comments, really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you next time online. Steve Samuel, Design Visionaries. Please like and subscribe, ring the bell. Take care. Have a wonderful day.